welcome to Trading Lounge and the Asian Report, and starting with the ASX 200 here on the daily chart. As you can see here, we've got wave 1 here, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, and we've possibly got wave 5 in here as well. So we will track this, and we are long in this move up through here at the moment, so that's fine. The 61.8% retracement level from the top to the bottom here is roughly around the 5,800, which is a minor level. And in a way, this has actually moved through here, so it's coming back and retesting that. So we just need to be a little bit cautious. If we've got this number here, the 5,800 as support, then we're more likely to move higher at that point. We will get a reaction there anyway because of being the 800 and also the 61.8% mark. So we'll have to give it a little bit of time, but it's possible for it to have this down as 1 here and come back for 2 here, and and come down further from that. I don't think it's the case. I think that we can actually build from here, but we also need to build the evidence as well. So yes, we will push higher through here, and if we do get this as support, then we can look at the bigger picture, and the bigger picture, the next step in the bigger picture would be looking at this here and looking higher up towards the 6,000 area here in this space here. As I've mentioned before, let's just clean this up a little bit here. If let's just say that we get support on the 5.8 here, we get some sort of corrective move here and move to here. So it can also fail at this point here as well, and move down into a much bigger bearish picture at that stage. But it's also possible, if this count is correct with a B wave here and a C wave here, then we can also expect to make a new high up through here, and it'll be the banks that take us higher as the resources are still unfolding to the downside. So it's long on banks, long on finance, and short on resources, iron ore, oil. Oil is obviously going to have a bounce at the $50 mark, but once that bounce is done, we should see further downside from that. So bearish there. Let's just go in and have a look at what we got here. And you may remember this this move down through here. I can count it in 5 ways if I take that high here, and because this high here was just like a little tiny spike, but I suppose we've got to include it. But the other count for this would have this down as 1 and 2 and 3 here, and back for 4 here, and one more move to the downside here. So it's been a bit of a contention, this little top here, because this was a top in a lot of the other indices, but in our indices this was the top. So yeah, I like to keep sort of an eye on things like that. So I've got the 2 counts for that. So on the 4-hour chart here, from wave 4 here to wave 5 here, if I take this wave, this high here, then we have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, and we're done here, we're finished, and we can be moving up from this particular space. But if I put it over here, then wave 5 becomes over here, and we pull back to the wave 4 of 1 lesser degree, which is roughly around here somewhere, or the 38.2%, which is a bit lower in about this space here. So we can have one more little push up through to here, and then fail from here and come down into that space here. So these are the 2 situations that that I've got playing out here at the moment. So yeah, I just not sure if we've got a low in here. I mean, the move up through here, it can be counted impulsive, and I can also label it corrective as well. So that's not helpful at this particular stage. So there's certain levels that we have to get through here. So I want to explain this up here as an A and a B and a C, and failing from here, and that count, what that count would look like. And also we also need to be mindful of this space up here, the 5,800, which is the 61.8% mark. So we're going to get a reaction there as well. But if we get support on this, well, then we'll certainly be long in the banking sector in that on that stage. So if I go to the 2-hour chart here, that shows that this top is in place here, and we've got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here for this. And then we can look at this as wave 1. If that is the case, we can look at wave 1 here and wave 2 here, and then the process is building from that point there. Yeah, so and if that's the case, well then, you know, we can also put the trend line in here. Trend lines are okay, they sort of can help square things up. But so as this stands at the moment, then as you can see here as well, while we're here, is that the 5-7, which is obviously an important number, and 5-6 is important. We can use this number a lot, so wherever you see this, he would go and buy on that number. It could be $56. He was trading stocks more so in that case. So but yeah, so we're migrating from being resistance here to being support over here. That's really the catalyst of this particular price point here. And we can pretty much, if you're long at the moment, you can pretty much have a stop under this little level here, and I'll show you the reason why for that. And if we moved, I'll just save that. So we have to work 2 counts up through this space. So this is, let's go to the 1-hour chart. So yeah, if we took this as wave 4 over here on this 1-hour chart, then this would be 1 and 2 here, and 5 waves down here for wave 3, and then an A and a B and a C back for wave 4 here. So that's certainly on the case, and I know that we talked about being long before, so on this top here. So if that's the case, then it doesn't look very nice, this structure moving up through here. But if you look on the cash market, it's quite a straight line up here. So with an A and a B and a C here for the B wave. And then if we will look, if this is the B wave, well, then we'll need to look for 5 waves in the C wave here. And that would be 1 and 2 here, and 3 and 4 here, and then up for 5 here, finishing at the top of this box here, and also the wave 4 of 1 lesser degree in this particular space here for that. So it's possible to have this move up here. There will probably, by looking at that, looks like we've got 1 and 2 in here. So 1 and 2, and then there'll be 3 and 4 and 5, something like that. So we don't need that one. Little move like that there. So that's where that could actually end there. I know that it's not a very good 5-wave structure either, because wave 4 is overlapping this one here. So we could be able to count it in a different fashion, but I'd just like to keep things simple. But I'm aware of the overlapping wave structure here. So from here, it can certainly move down from this area here. This is the reason that the other more bullish count, which makes a little bit more sense, is that this is up for 1 here, back for 2 here, up for 1 here, back for 2 here, and that's why this can't be breached here. If it's breached here, then we need to be out of our long trade here, but then we also need to be on the short side here as well. Okay, so that will be a change of trend for that. The other point here too, as I mentioned, is the next step higher, which is this block here at 5.8 here. So they kind of merge together a little bit. So, but I pulled them apart just to sort of dissect it and understand it a little bit better. So we should see resistance at this number, and we'll see some sort of reaction from here on the bullish count. So we just need to work through that, and then we need to see if it's going to, it'll be a bigger version of this, what's occurred here at 5.7. It should be a more volatile version of that at 5.8 here, and unless it's going into a third wave. But whatever happens, if you see this as support here, then we need to be long there. And the normal process is the arrival, the reaction in some way, the first high above the level, then some sort of corrective pattern, and then up from there. So we'll be going long on these highs. So it could take, normally it'd be a slow process at this number, but be mindful that it could be a quick process as well if we're going into a third wave. So, but yeah, having that first high above the level is important, and you can obviously get the second high here as well. So let's just edge forward and see with this. So not today's Wednesday, so we've got Thursday, Friday, so not a lot's going to sort of change in this space. So yeah, it will probably be next week, and then we'll start putting in the equity trades too at that point. You notice that I've really tightened up on all the trades, and just looking for the next direction now, that's all. So that's really it, really. I can't really say much more than what I've said. So let's just see how this all plays out. Okay, let's go and have a look at China and Hong Kong and so on. So China and Hong Kong have sort of doing slightly different things together at the moment. So we'll take each one on its own way. So with China here, I was going for the bigger picture here. So we've been looking down here as wave 1 and 2 here, and then very clear 5 waves for wave 1 here and back for 2. Nice strong big structure for wave 3 here with 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and little 5 waves in here, and then an A and a B and a C for wave 4, down for 5 to make wave 3 here. Wave 4 is all a little bit squashed up in there as an A, B, C here, and then down for wave 5. So it's quite possible that wave 5 is actually finished here. I mean, but and I'll show you the reason why in a minute. But on the flip side of that, I find it very difficult to see the 11,500 as such a solid resistance, and this market not making it down to the next level. So that really sort of concerns me. So I can count 5 waves from this high down to here, even though we haven't made a new low here. It can be a truncated 5th wave. So we can either move up to here, or we'll move up in an A and a B and a C and a 61.8% retracement level, and then have wave 3, 4 and 5 coming down through to here. So on the 4-hour chart, this will make a little bit more sense. So we've been working through this triangle pattern here with wave 3 here, an A and a B and a C and a D and an E over here for this. I'm also aware too, if you've got a different count for this, then that would be fine too. The other count that I can still see here, if I can just borrow this for a moment and put this back over here, is having this as an A and a B and a C, and that's the end of it here. And then the 5 waves would be 1 and 2 and 3 down here. And I know that this has gone up too high and is overlapping wave 1 here, but wave 4, and then down for wave 5 here. So I know that we're short here at the moment, and I know that this can be completed at this particular point here and move back up. But because we went short here, we shouldn't go, we shouldn't change directions or move out of this, because it is in a downtrend. We shouldn't move out of it unless we've got 11,000 as the support, and then we can flip over and go on to the long side at that point. So on the 1-hour chart for this, if this is wave E of 4 over here, we know that can be counted differently, then these are the 5 waves here, and that would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. Now obviously the extension's in wave 1, and then wave 3 is smaller, and then wave 5 is smaller from this point here, so that can go into this space here. So you can see, you know, that we don't really want to move until this is actually completed, until we're above the 11,000 here. But it's possible to have a low in here. So if you do want to exit, well then do so. But you're moving out of something that's actually moving down in that line. But we are seeing the US markets push higher. We are seeing Hong Kong move higher as well, and that's in a different count. So when we look at Hong Kong, excuse me, in the bigger picture here, I was looking at it like this here, with wave 1 here, wave 2 here, 1 and 2 here, and then all of this for the third wave down here, and the fourth and the fifth wave for wave 3 here, and looking at this as an A and a B and a C, and this is the 38.2% retracement level here, and the wave 4 of 1 lesser degree. So it's kind of in this box here really that we're looking for. So when we go to the 4-hour chart here, this is how it looks here. So wave A here, and then we were looking at an A, B and C here for the A wave. This doesn't finish up in 5 waves here. It's an A and a B and a C for the B wave, and then down for the C wave in 5 waves to make B. So an A wave, a B wave, and then moving up to the 38.2% retracement level here with wave 1 and 2 here, and 3 here and 4 here, and 5 moving up here. I don't know if I've updated the hourly, but I'll just look as well. Nope, so we don't need to go there. And Japan. So I want to talk about the Nikkei for a second. So we've got wave 3 here, and we're looking at this as an A wave here, an A and a B and a C wave for the B wave here, and it's possible to count 5 waves down here to finish this here, even though that we haven't made a new low here. I'm concerned about this particular pattern here being corrective and seeing more downside. I guess, you know, I don't know, this whole correction could get more complicated, but as it stands at the moment, this can just go straight up from here. But I don't want to get us too excited because I don't have enough evidence for that. So the normal thing would be to look at this as an A wave, a B wave and a C wave here, even though we can look at this as wave 1 and 2 here and up for 3. But I won't get excited about that unless I'm on support of number 3 here. And this is quite important to me because we've got a major level here, and these are minor levels here, but this is the top of group 1 here. So if we got tested support on here, then I know that we'd be moving much higher from that point, you know, moving much higher. But while this is here, we're subject to this being an A and a B and a C wave here, and then moving down again, well, even lower down because yeah, just another reason. But yeah, so this is a little bit tricky. If I go to the 4-hour chart here, there's also another little catch in here as well. So it's possible to have this as wave 4 low here, and then have this as wave 1 here and wave 2 here, and moving up into wave 3 high here. It's also possible to have this down here as wave 1 here, with an A wave here, B wave here, and then 5 waves up for a C wave here. So 1 and 2 and 3. We haven't seen wave 4 yet. That will play out in here a bit, and then wave 5 moving up in here higher to make wave 5 of C here, and possibly of wave 2 here, or part of a larger triangle pattern. The other point that I have to make here too, which chucks a bit of a spanner in the work, I know we're long here as well. This move down through here, I can count this as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here for the A wave, across for the B wave and down for the C wave. So I'm okay with that, but I do need to point out that if I've made a mistake here, and this is actually all of wave 1 here and 2 here and 3 here and 4 here and 5 here, then this would be an A and a B and a C wave here at the 61.8% mark, and can fail from here. So it's possible that this could actually just fail from this point here as well. I'm expecting it to pull back to the wave 4 of 1 lesser degree here, which is this little one in here. So a little bit of stuff happening in here. We are long on these highs here. I want to keep the stop out of the way. I don't want to put the stop just under this low here, because if we get this wave 4 that comes back here and then pushes up, well, then I'll look a bit silly. So I don't mind that. That's quite funny, but yeah, so I think that at this point here, what we need to do is that we need to get, wherever you're long here, we need to get this into break even at this point, okay? But I want to keep it really below that that previous low there. So if I take this low here, which just needs to be adjusted a little bit, that's the 38.2% retracement level here, which is not as low as this one here at the 50. So, you know, we may not come all that way back. We may just come to here, but we should see some sort of little correction in here. So I just really want to give it the space. So get to break even on this, including brokerage, and then let's just see, and then we'll track this to the upside, and yeah, we'll leave that at that point. So, you know, in a small way, in the smaller degree of structure, we know where we are in this 5-wave structure, and we're doing all the right things. But in the bigger picture, there's a couple of counts there. One of them is this wave 2 here, which is a little bit haunting. So let's just see how this pans out here. But we know that once we get support, or if we get support on the 23 here, we know where we are. So we have to just take things step by step with all of this. I'm a bit of a wuss buying on lows and things until I get a bit of evidence in place. So anyway, India is next. Now, I know that as somebody pointed out, I still haven't got my sort of head around it. I don't know what the situation is, but the price for the Nifty 50 here seems to be a little bit different from on this charting program here. This is IG Markets and Pro Real-Time Charting Program, and this price here for this can be a little bit different. This is the same price that's on Google's structure as well, price data. But I know that other people have got different prices where they're sort of below the 10,000 here, in fact. So I'm not quite sure the reason why that is. I'll have to have a look at the BSE as well, exchange, and we need to figure out why there's two different prices for this market. But if anybody's got any ideas, please send them in, because it's a bit difficult to do everything. Okay, so the same thing with this here as well. This little move up through here, this counts nicely as an A wave to here, then an A wave to here, and a B wave to here, and a C wave to here. So we're still in this corrective structure here. This move up through here, like the Nikkei, is in 3 waves, so I have to call it a B wave, and then we need to look at this as a C wave here. And if that's the case, then we need to look at this move up through to here. That can take us up higher to the 11,000, will be 1 and 2, and third waves normally happen at the top here for these sorts of things, wave 4 and wave 5. So we're kind of heading into that space there for this. So we can expect a new high for the Nifty to come into play, and it could stretch up as high as 11,000. Well, you'd think that, because normally with a correction there's some sort of correlation between wave A here and wave C here. Yeah, so anyway, that's where that is. Alrighty, thanks for tuning in, much appreciated. Cheers.